Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. All is not well at the table for Roman Reigns and family as the drama continues to heat up between the Usos and their tribal chief cousin, the Universal Champion Roman Reigns. We had a big championship change on tonight's episode, but this episode of SmackDown was pretty much just there. There was nothing very special about it, and it certainly didn't feel like a go-home show for this Sunday's Wrestlemania edition of Backlash. And we are going to talk about all of that and so much more right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare. You are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's SmackDown review and reaction show. Let's do it.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Let's all get down and boogie and be excited and happy and let's celebrate. Let's all get down together and celebrate because they're not like most girls and they're no longer the tag champs and I just love it so much that I have to dance. Oh, yeah. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not ecstatic that the Women's Tag Team Championship titles are now around the waist of Natalya and Tamina. It's not like I was a big fan of that team coming into this episode of SmackDown. It's not like I was starving for them to be put over, but I can rejoice in the fact, the simple, tiny little fact, that as of this night, May 14th, 2021, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are no longer the Women's Tag Team Champions, and I love that. That one simple fact alone is what's making me feel like dancing once again on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. We haven't had a good song and dance session since Lacey Evans has been around, but thankfully we had this take place tonight. It wasn't the worst match in the world. It did feature Reginald, but Tamina and Natalya defeated Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. So what are some of the pros and cons about this? Why are you dancing so much, Nick? Well, that means we're not going to see Nia and Shayna on two shows every single week. They're not going to have their mandatory tag team championship title matches, and I'm so happy that that is going to be a reality. They are going to be put in the vortex of garbage that is Monday Night Raw, where they belong. At least that's where I assume that they were. Isn't that where they were at the start of this whole thing? So don't they just automatically default back to their old show? We could hope that's the best case scenario because, that's where most of the garbage goes. Unless they want to break off Shayna Baszler and send her to SmackDown on an individual route. That's another good thing, is that we are also going to go down the road of breaking up this tag team. And I'm ecstatic about that. We need Shayna Baszler to get away from Nia Jax. We need her to be booked seriously. SmackDown needs more women on the roster anyway. Nia Jax can go where the garbage belongs on Mondays, and we can have some real wrestling for the women on Fridays if that's what they decide to do, and that would be great. And coming out of tonight's SmackDown, that's like the best thing that happened. And we never talk about the women's tag team division and have anything positive or anything happy to say about it. But again, let's bring it back down to earth a little bit, because despite my excitement, it's not a big deal. It's not like the Women's Tag Team Championships are now put around the waist of anybody that really matters. And that's not a disrespect to Natty or Tamina. They are both longtime veterans and they are deserving of this moment. But what did this really happen after like the 100th time you've tried? How many times did they lose their opportunities at Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler? I'm terrified that there's going to be some sort of a rematch, that they'll actually give them the championships right back to the team that I'm so ecstatic might be breaking up. But whether or not that's the case, it doesn't really change the status of the division. I think that's what I'm trying to say. It's not like Natty and Tamina having the championships are really any different than Nia and Shayna because the division is booked like a giant toilet anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference. Yeah, instead of seeing Shayna and Nia twice a week, we're going to end up seeing Natty and Tamina twice a week, but I guess I would have to choose the lesser of the two evils, and being that Natty and Tamina could at least wrestle, I'll have to take it. And maybe they take the first steps in the right direction and really establishing the women's division here. I couldn't even finish that with saying a straight face, but hey, dare to dream, right? That's all really that happened on this show that mattered. You would think they would want a moment like this on the pay-per-view. Right, you're 48 hours away from Backlash. Wouldn't you want to give them the moment back? I mean, they had their opportunity at WrestleMania to take on the champions and lost. And this is the Backlash of WrestleMania. Why didn't you have this match at WrestleMania Backlash and then have them win? Wouldn't that have made more sense? But no, they don't really have any ideas. And when it comes to go-home shows, they want to give you title matches and silliness that really doesn't get you all that hyped for the show on Sunday. Just going to show you how much they really don't care about A, the pay-per-view they're booking on Sunday, or B, the women's division as a whole. Because if they really cared even this much, they would have put this match on the show Sunday, giving it a little extra added importance, being that it was going to be a title change, 2 second generation, well, Natty's like, what, a 4th generation, 3rd or 4th generation superstars, teaming up, winning their first tag team gold. That's something you would expect to happen at the bigger shows, right? But no, they just did it on a go-home episode of SmackDown. Outside of this, we have the Roman Reigns Uso family feud going on, and I'm into it. I like the direction in which they're going, but there is one criticism that I have of it, which is that their first outing here after we had the return of Jimmy Uso last week is that SmackDown tonight opened with Roman doing his Roman thing with Jay and Paul Heyman, and Jimmy Uso came out and they had their family confrontation, which was pretty much a repeat of what we seen last week. It got a little bit intense, and that's fine, but somehow Jimmy Uso ends up challenging Cesaro, and now instead of main event Jey Uso, we have main event Jimmy Uso, but effectively we have the same story they've been telling with Jey Uso just continuing substituting his brother. Now it does add a little bit of a different drama to it, a little bit of a different angle to it, because Jimmy is not doing this to appease Roman Reigns. He's doing this out of his own belief in himself and his brother, that if they were able to win the tag team championships, they would be the head of the table, and that the tribal chief isn't really all that special. And I like that direction in which they're going with it, but really it's like second verse, same as the first. You know what I mean? We've been seeing the same things here over and over again. Of course, you knew this night wasn't going to end without Roman Reigns getting his hands on Cesaro in some way, shape, or form, which is how this show ended up going off the air at the end of it all. And in between the Roman segment at the beginning and the Roman Cesaro segment at the end, the rest of the show was kind of unnecessary. And like I said, even the Women's Tag Team Championship should have been saved for Sunday. The rest of this show just happened. It just exists. There's nothing special about it. Nothing to really get you hyped for Sunday. No big dramatic teases. Nothing interesting. Just pretty much paper cut, or cookie cutter rather, or stamp and paste, copy paste, whatever you want to call it. Just repetitive, same old WWE song and dance. And while the athleticism in some of the matches tonight was very good, as usually is the case with SmackDown, the storytelling continues to be better than it is on Raw, but just continues to be telling the same story over and over again. So it's just kind of meh. Like I said, it's just there. It's not good, it's not terrible, but it's not like groundbreaking shit that's going to save the WWE's ass and get the ratings out of the gutter. So let's talk about the rest of this shit show since we had your basic opening salvo there for how this show went down. We had Roman and Jimmy and Jay arguing at the beginning of this show. Roman was a little funny here. He's like, "You think Fox wants Cesaro to take my place?" He doubts Cesaro could take his place in the WWE because he's more than just a wrestler. Even though he pointed out to Jay, he's like, "Listen, Jimmy is a problem and we have to address that problem," but he had to take his shots at Cesaro first. Reigns then turned his attention to Jimmy Uso, and then Jimmy came out and they had a one-on-one. I liked that Jimmy's new t-shirt, which I believe said "Nobody's Bitch" on it. That's Jimmy's new merch that he's rocking. I know it shows how lazy still the WWE merch department is because they just throw some text on a shirt, call it a design, and that's it. That's a million seller right there. 2 words. Throw it on a shirt. They're trying to make everybody's shirt look exactly the same, I guess. I don't know, but it's just a, catchphrase. But this catchphrase, "Nobody's Bitch," I thought it was cool, especially for his character and what he's saying right now. But Jimmy doesn't think that Ray. Jimmy doesn't think Roman Reigns, not Ray, we're not up to the Rey Mysterio segment yet, can beat Cesaro this Sunday. He actually thinks Cesaro has the chance, which pissed off Roman Reigns, of course, and said that if the Usos win the tag team titles, they'll be tribal chiefs, which really infuriated Roman. He got right into Jimmy's face. He told Jimmy that he could never do what the tribal chief does. And he says, if you think you can do that, go out there tonight and prove it. Prove that he could beat Cesaro. Prove he can be better than me. Prove you can beat him tonight. And Jimmy, without even waiting one beat, was ready to challenge Cesaro for a match tonight, who came out, accepted, promised to beat Jimmy tonight, and then go on to beat Roman Reigns on Sunday, which was a decent opening segment. At least it moved some things forward, right? As we had this whole thing with Jimmy thrown in as a wrench to the Cesaro story. At least it's not Seth Rollins, right? Who was noticeably absent from the entirety of tonight's show, which makes you think they didn't have anything for Seth Rollins after Cesaro. Then what was the point of bringing him back in the first place? You have nothing for this guy? Seriously? But we got time for Natty and Tamina beating Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler in this women's tag team championship match. We talked about it at length at the beginning. We're not going to go over it too much again, but this definitely happened. And Tamina hit the Superfly Splash and got the pin for her team, and we have new champions, and they made a big deal out of it. They had the whole pyro thing. They had the post-match interview where both of them were like, "Family, and we did it, and hooray," and then the fireworks were like, ba-boom, 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 and they made a whole big to-do about it. Like I said, if it's that important and it's that special and you wanted to have that much of an impact with it going down, should have did it at the pay-per-view. We had Commander Aziz Yabba Dabba Doozies getting a Medal of Honor tonight from his Nigerian king, prince, Apollo Crews. I was just going to call him Prince Abubu, but that's a completely different movie. We're not talking about Disney animated features. We are talking about a segment that actually happened tonight. He wanted to reward him for his bravery and his assistance throughout the championship reign that Apollo Crews has been enjoying as of late. So he gave him this real nifty Medal of Honor. He made him stand on a box that was about 3 feet high. So Commander Aziz Abubu Yabba Dabba Doozies was like 19 feet tall in the ring, and this was all interrupted by Big E, who was on the Titantron at first, throwing jabs at the champ, like Big E would do. He mocked the ceremony, saying it was a bigger sham than when Macklemore won Best Rap Album, and I don't follow the rap scene anymore, so I don't know what any of that has to do with anything. But anyway, Big E promised to win the championship back. And then Sami Zayn came out and he was mocking Big E. He says he's got unfinished business with Apollo Crews since he's the rightful Intercontinental Champion still in his delusional mind. And then, of course, Crews started to beat down. Kevin Owens came out, of course, to beat down Sami Zayn. Next thing you know, everybody's beating everybody up. Yabba Dabba's beating down Kevin Owens. Apollo Crews is beating down Kevin Owens. And that's when Big E comes out to give the save, you would think. But he ends up beating up everybody. Everybody's beating up everybody else. Everybody's hitting their little finishing move on everybody. And just as Big E went to go get Apollo Crews at the end of this thing, Commander Aziz earned his Medal of Honor again and pulled the champion away from danger. All of this leading up to what is obviously going to be a fatal four-way for the Intercontinental Championship. I'm into that match. I'm just not into this whole Commander Yabba Dabba Aziz and, Nigerian Prince Apollo, which I was actually very high on at the beginning. But they're just making it kind of silly. I don't know. What is he really giving him a medal for? Has he done anything that fantastic? No, he went and discovered Umaga's old move. He said, I'm going to take that move and I'm going to use it and we're going to call it the Nigerian Spike. No, it's the Samoan Spike. What's it? The Nigerian Nail, because alliteration. We have to have N and N. Just like the S and the S, it's the Samoan Spike and the Nigerian Nail. How clever are we in the WWE? How smart are we, Mr. McMahon?
You're so smart, you guys. I love it. It's good shit.
Oh my God. Not really that great, but that match should be pretty good. I would prefer that to be maybe a ladder match to give it even a little bit more emphasis. So if you guys are listening, ladder match here, 4 men, 1 championship, hanging above the ring, big giant man on the outside, able to get involved. That's what you got to do. Not your typical fatal four-way, but you throw that ladder in there and it brings a whole new element of danger, an element of surprise, no disqualification, all kinds of madness can happen. And guess what? All 4 men could get each other over in this match, no matter who wins. So it would be a win-win for everybody involved. A lose-lose for us is the next match we had to sit through. Rey Mysterio defeating Dolph Ziggler. Because, we have Tiny Dad and Giant Baby Man's son going for the championships to make WWE history and become the first father-son tag team champions in the long storied history of the WWE. And we've been talking about this for weeks. I just want this to be done and over with. Just hurry up. You guys are delaying the inevitable, and the way you're booking everything as far as the build towards this match makes me fearful that you're not even going to do it. You're going to put all this hype on it. You're going to add all this extra, history making level to it. And then you're just not going to pull the trigger on it, because now we have seen Dominic Mysterio and Rey be pretty much the aggressors here. They've gotten the upper hand at every level, so this is where the champs are going to come back and defend the titles and win, much like they used to do with the women's tag team champions Nia and Shayna. Is that what we're going to get here? All of a sudden, Dolph and Robert Roode are going to dirty dog themselves together. They're going to get their dirty dog shit into dirty dog gear, and they're going to defend their dirty dog titles successfully at the pay-per-view? Or are we going to actually go with this history-making change? Having Rey Mysterio beat one half of the champions tonight makes me fearful of that not actually happening. Once again, it's not like I'm a huge mark for it. I just think it would actually be something different. It's not going to change the overall fate of the SmackDown Tag Team division, because what are they going to do? They're going to probably feud with Otis and Gable, and we're going to get a match with them and the Street Profits, because there are no other tag teams, so it's just a round robin of the same matches over and over and over again. But at least you have this, and what we can get out of it is something I've been pitching for weeks, which is the eventual dissolving of Rey Mysterio and his son from this baby bullshit bubblegum family matters. Oh, Dad, I'm so proud of you, Dad. And my son, we're gonna be tag team champs together, son. Oh, this is gonna be so great, Dad. And I'm telling you, I think these guys listen to my show because if you heard any of the shit that Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode have been saying to Dominic Mysterio, they're pretty much picking on him for being a baby, for being such a tiny person, such a giant person that looks like a child, not a tiny person. Rey Mysterio is the tiny person. We all know that. But you know what I'm trying to say. They keep picking on him for not being deserving. He doesn't belong in the ring. He's just a baby in this industry, and we've been calling him tiny. No, Rey Mysterio's the tiny. You've been calling him giant baby man son and all these other things. So maybe they're inspired by me. Maybe they're not. If they do watch me, they probably hate me for all the times I shit on their whole dirty dogs gimmick. But hey, it is what it is. This match was unnecessary, even though as I said, most of these matches, the athleticism was good. It was a decent match. But I would have barely been interested in this match when it happened 10 years ago on SmackDown, which I'm sure if you go back, you could find maybe one time when Rey Mysterio and Dolph Ziggler crossed paths at the beginning of his career. And this is just get to it. Just get to it and get it over with. All right? I'm tired of seeing the dirty dogs, and I'm tired of all this shit. Where is it leading us to? Who knows? Nothing really any different, nothing tremendous. But, at least they'll have this moment, right? Good for them. Is it really good for us? Not really, when all is said and done. WWE don't care enough about it to really make it feel that important. Even though Ray and Dominic promised they're gonna do it this, we're gonna do it, Dad. We're gonna do it this Sunday. Tiny mask wearing Dad. Just like they don't know what the fuck to do with the singles division for the women as well. They are clueless here. They're clueless. First of all, Sasha Banks disappeared off the face of the earth, so they're obviously holding her off, maybe for a rematch at SummerSlam. Bianca Belair's first opponent as the champion on pay-per-view is going to be Bayley, the former women's champion who was champion for over 300 plus days. I forgot what the exact number was, and it's a great first match for her out of the gate. But the build-up for it has been so uninteresting. We have Bayley just laughing like a crazed, demented woman. Nothing that they're saying to each other has any meaning to it. Bayley's not... She doesn't appear like she cares as much about being champion as it is laughing in the face of Bianca Belair. And I'm just not really into the story that they're telling between these two females here. It's way less interesting than what we were getting between Sasha and Bianca, and that was barely interesting at best. They have some stuff to play on here because this is not the first time these two women have been in the ring together. We've seen Bianca Belair lose to Bayley before. They're not really playing on that at all, but they want to talk about stupid shit, right? Bayley's laughing in Bianca Belair's face again tonight. Bianca came out. She's talking to Michael Cole, which already has me half interested because I don't like Michael Cole's interview style. I never did. Plus, he's cringe on commentary as usual. But I want to listen to what Bianca's got to say. She says she's ready to face Bayley and that she's going to retain the title. She wondered where Bayley is tonight since Bayley wants to be all up in her business lately. And then they had a recap of what happened between them last week with Bayley attacking Bianca Belair. And then Bayley appeared on the big screen just like they did with Big E for the Intercontinental Championship thing and started to mock Bianca Belair. Bianca said she's going to figure out where Bayley's hiding. Bayley laughed her ass off once again. She refused to tell her, and she keeps doing that annoying laugh. She promised she's going to win the title back at the pay-per-view. Bianca knows why Bayley's all pissed off. She said Bayley's mad because the Bellas beat her up at WrestleMania and threw her down the ramp while Bianca was on her night winning the women's championship. This is what you got? This is the best you got? 48 hours from there, nobody mentioned anything about their previous history. They don't seem to be taking it seriously. Bayley just wants to laugh. She promised to end Belair's fairy tale and win back her title at Backlash. I'm not interested, really, in the story. But the match, once again, should be fairly good, especially if they give them enough time. There's not really all that much going on at Backlash when you look at it as a whole, so hopefully these women get some time to put on a good match. The match is going to be great. Just like I said with Bianca and Sasha, the match is going to be good. There's no way it's not going to be good, but the story on the road to the match leaves a lot to be desired. Just like the next segment of the night left a whole lot to be desired, because not only did it feature Constable King Dickhead Baron Corbin, it also had him beating Shinsuke Nakamura again. I don't know what this is. He pinned Shinsuke Nakamura last week. Shinsuke wanted to face Baron Corbin because this happened last week, because he got pinned in a meaningless 10-man tag. Shinsuke wants a rematch against Corbin, and Corbin gets a win over Shinsuke Nakamura here. And I don't understand it. I don't understand it. He rolled up Shinsuke Nakamura for the win. The roll-up, which beats everybody. It doesn't matter what your finishing move is, how strong you are, how big you are. If you get rolled up, man, you're done. The most devastating move in all of pro wrestling, the roll-up. Nakamura loses this match, making him look like a jackass. Then after the match, speaking of looking like a jackass, Corbin takes his crown and puts it on his stupid bald head, which pissed off Shinsuke to the point where he would attack him after the match. The babyface in the scenario attacking the heel post-match during a celebration. These kind of things don't really happen. But it's Shinsuke, so, whatever. And then this leads to Corbin's crown go flying off his head. Shinsuke picks up the crown and put it on. Pat McAfee's marking out, "Oh my God, you can't do that. It's so disrespectful." He was freaking out because he put Baron Corbin's friggin' crown on his head. And I don't know. The one thing that I take away from this is there was a lot of talk about the King of the Ring, because Shinsuke was the King of Strong Style going against the winner of the King of the Ring, which Michael Cole mistakenly said happened last year. It was not last year. It was way more than a year ago since Baron Corbin has been crowned King of the Ring. I think he's trying to not count 2020 as a whole. But yeah, it's been more than that. But it may seem like they're hinting towards a return of the King of the Ring once again, and after what they did to us with the last one, I'm not too excited about the prospect of a next one. Who really has the momentum to be the next King of the Ring? Maybe somebody like a Big E, maybe a Seth Rollins, maybe a Shinsuke, maybe Cesaro after he inevitably loses to Roman. Maybe he wins the King of the Ring just to get a title shot again at Roman. These are possibilities if you're going for a new King of the Ring. But as I said, it doesn't do anything for anybody anymore. What did it do for Baron Corbin? Nothing. It put him in matches where he was messing around with dog food. He's had multiple minions. Nothing really pans out for this guy. And I don't know if it's just the curse of being Constable King Dickhead, wearing bellhop suits and being ridiculous on screen, or if it has something to do with everything else. And I don't know. I don't care. I don't know. The King of the Ring, whether it comes back or not, remains to be seen. Whether it works ever again, that's another mystery unto itself. Another mystery why Shinsuke Nakamura is losing to this guy 2 weeks in a row. I don't know. If he won the match, would that be 50-50 booking? I guess so, but are we building King Corbin up right now just for him to lose to Shinsuke later anyway? Like, they don't know what they're doing anymore. And that's never more obvious than when you watch any of their shows. In the back, we see Apollo Crews once again with Commander Yabba Dabba Dooza, and they approach Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville. Apollo Crews was pissed off about what happened to them during their ceremony. Pearce said he's still trying to figure out which one of them Apollo Crews is going to have to face. Right? He announced that Crews will be defending against Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Big E in a Fatal 4-Way match. He was pretty unhappy with DeVille, who was kind of warning Apollo Crews to be careful because Pierce might make him face all three. And like, he was just kind of egging shit on in the wrong way, and it ended up being exactly what Adam Pierce was going to do anyway. So he was kind of pissed off with Sonya, who resumed duties on SmackDown this week. I guess they remembered they had another show to go to since taking over on Raw the last couple of weeks. Then we had Shinsuke Nakamura in the back in a mirror, admiring himself wearing the crown. Now, I don't know if this is another little hint or Easter egg to a new King of the Ring. Is he going to wrestle Corbin for the crown? Are we going to do something like that? I don't know, but this was weird. He's just in the mirror and he's just doing his Shinsuke thing with a crown on his head, and it was quite awkward and weird and off-putting. But then we had Alistair Black finally returning to SmackDown after being missing last week. We got another chapter from the Tales of the Dark Father. This chapter was dubbed The Lesson, which had those great animations accompanying it. Black said he would teach us this lesson that he learned from Father, but he's not going to because apparently we're not worthy. He's not going to tell us the lesson. But this whole thing, I'm loving the presentation. I'm loving the animations. I just want it to keep coming. The week off last week had me afraid that they were going to drop the whole thing, but at least it returned. And in a rare high spot on the night, we had the return of Alistair Black, which is not something we ever really say. But over the last couple of weeks, this new gimmick, this Tales of the Dark Father, these animated shorts, mwah, I love it. Give me more shit like this. So then we have in the back Caleb Braxton interviewing Jimmy Uso. He says that he didn't think his first match back would end up being a singles match. He thought the Usos would reunite and end up winning the tag team championships, but yet here we are, and he's going to have his first main event since coming back. Main event, Jimmy Uso taking on Cesaro to show Roman Reigns how it's done, apparently. And this was a very good match, but we had the typical very weak WWE disqualification / interference booking finish suddenly out of nowhere, just as this match was really getting good, but we were getting pretty close to the 10 o'clock hour. Roman Reigns and Jey Uso came out, attacked Cesaro, beat him down, got Jimmy disqualified. Jimmy was pissed off, yelled at Roman Reigns that he was about to win. He's got to make everything about himself. You made this about you. Everything's got to be about you. And as Jimmy walked off, Roman Reigns actually gave chase. I thought he was going to let him walk off. Like, fuck you, man. I don't give a shit. I'm the head of the table. I'm the champ. But they end up arguing outside the ring. Cesaro takes this opportunity to beat up Jey Uso inside the ring. Reigns comes back in the ring, but Cesaro fought him off. He then beat down both Jimmy and Jey Uso. Reigns then runs away, watching from the ramp as Cesaro taunted the champion and then hit the neutralizer 2 times on Jey Uso, all while keeping eyes locked on the champ the whole time. That was a great way to set up the Universal title match this Sunday at Backlash. Pretty much the only match I'm interested in seeing at all. We know Cesaro's not going to win. He doesn't have a chance in hell right now. But it's going to be a great match nonetheless. They did announce that Fatal 4-Way for the Intercontinental Championship will be taking place next week on SmackDown instead of this Sunday at the pay-per-view. Why? I don't understand it. I don't understand. It's right there. It's just a few hours away. Just put it there. But no, we got to save it for SmackDown? Why? What's more important than the Intercontinental Championship that's happening at Backlash on Sunday? It just doesn't make sense why they would do that to me. And still, I would have preferred that they booked it as a ladder match. Anyway, maybe we'll get some kind of a weird no contest, and this will have to continue on into the next pay-per-view. Money in the Bank, maybe, I think, is next. I don't even know. I can't keep track anymore. They just keep throwing too much shit at us as it is. so it's hard to keep track. But anyway, that, ladies and gentlemen, was your SmackDown review for this Friday, May the 14th, 2012, where the only happy thing about it really was the change in championships, just so we don't have to see Nia and Shayna no more. But now, on a more serious note, as you've seen as this show began with the bump and the graphic, the wrestling world was saddened to hear of the loss of Jerome Young, known to wrestling fans all over the world under the name of New Jack. New Jack was one half of the Gangsters tag team with his partner Mustafa. They grew to fame in ECW, despite wrestling for a couple of years before that in Smoky Mountain Wrestling and other places. The Gangsters were a huge part of ECW. I remember them, and I could never forget them. Their feuds with the Public Enemy and teams like the Eliminators are stuff you just can't forget. They were bloody, stiff, really violent feuds going through multiple tables. These guys were some of the most vicious fighters you will have ever seen, and that has pretty much become what New Jack is known for, taking many high risks, shooting on his opponents, and of course the infamous 1996 incident involving mass transit where he almost killed a guy in the middle of the ring by stabbing him. I think it was maybe 17 or 18 times. I may be exaggerating, but he stabbed this guy way too much in a spot that was supposed to just be a simple blading spot so the kid would bleed in the match, and it just got out of hand. He was known to have multiple incidents like that. He was just that type of a wrestler, just one of the most shocking and most infamous wrestlers the industry has ever seen. Unfortunately, passed away today at the young age of 58 years old via heart attack. New Jack, Jerome Young, was a great talent. He's a legend in this industry. He never made it to the WWE, but he did have a short stint in TNA where his antics probably were not very much appreciated. I was always a huge fan of the guy. I was terrified of him. He's one of those guys that I don't know if I would go to a wrestling signing to meet New Jack, just because he's just a different kind of cat, and you never knew what was gonna set him off. And I was a huge fan of the team of the Gangsters. They were so vicious. And it was very sad when this news broke. Actually, as I was watching SmackDown, I seen it come across my feed, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about it before we sign off here tonight. We got some pretty big news. We got memberships coming to the channel. I figured those of you still watching me at 38 minutes would be the type of people that may be interested in that type of thing, since you're such really good, hardcore, diehard sledgeheads of Sledge Nation. I will be giving some more information on that as we get a little bit closer to launching it all. But let me know if you would be interested in any of that stuff. Would you be interested if I opened up a Discord server, maybe making that one of the perks of membership? Would you like to watch more exclusive videos? Would you just like early access to some of the more special videos I do? More gaming videos? Give me some ideas of some of the things that you would want that might make you consider joining this channel and becoming a member. I'm only right now working on the first tier at the $2.99 price point. I don't know what else we're going to do, but let me know what you think down in the comments section below. And that's going to do it. We're going to wrap it up on that. If you missed the Monday Night Raw review, that will be linked in the annotations up above, and make sure that you are subscribed right now and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss when we bring the hammer down on anything else the WWE likes to throw at us, especially this Sunday at the Wrestlemania Backlash, as I'm going to be right here with you guys once again, pointing out everything wrong that the WWE does, because that's what we do and so much more. If you want to see more Resident Evil coverage, you can let me know if you want to see that as well, and I will maybe film something for you guys tomorrow. I don't know if I can get it up tomorrow, but I could film it tomorrow, edit it, and get it up as soon as possible. Let me know if you'll be interested in more Resident Evil, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, there'll be the Resident Evil video linked in the annotations up above as well. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team. Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Blue the Yeti microphone. Bigger, badder, and better than ever. The most important member of the team, as always, each and every one of you. Make sure you hit that like button if you had a good time with us here tonight. Make sure to share this video with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world, especially if they need a place to call home when they want to come vent about some pro wrestling. We're always accepting new members. Make sure you are subscribed to be a member of the Sledge Nation. That is every single one of you awesome sledgeheads watching right now, and that's all I could ever ask. I appreciate you all so much more than you ever know. Good night. Have a great rest of the weekend, and we will see you Sunday night for Backlash. That is going to do it. We are out of here. We will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. Boom.